Morning guys, today we are going to head to Little Rock. It's a cold day today. High today is going to be low 50s. It's not a day to go out just walking around. So we're going to head to Little Rock. There's a couple museums I haven't been to in a while. The old State House Museum, it's been years since I've been there. And we're going to go to the new art museum that opened up a couple years ago. I haven't been there yet. So we're going to go check that out. It should be a pretty day, nice and sunny. So we'll see you when we get there. We're on the Interstate 40, heading to Little Rock. It's a little hazy this morning. I'm hoping this burns off a little bit later. Should be a pretty day. We made it to the old State House Museum, so we're going to go inside and check it out. Admission is free, so you're able to come in and see it. There's no charge. So let's see what's going on around here. So it's been years since I've been here. I came here one time with our daughter. She was here to tour the Capitol building. And if you guys have ever been on a field trip with a bunch of 5th and 6th graders, it's like herding kittens. So I haven't been back since. So it'd be interesting to see what it's like now. So let's go inside, let's check it out. This is the oldest state house west of the Mississippi, and an architect from Kentucky drew the plans for the new state house, but couldn't come here to oversee the construction. And his plans were pretty elaborate, and the funds just weren't available to build that. So it was modified, and in 1833 they began building. Now, Arkansas wasn't even a state yet, it was just a territory. But in 1836, Arkansas became the 25th state, and the first General Assembly took place. The building wasn't completed until 1842, and in 1855, the building was renovated into what we basically see today. So this is what they call a chaperone chair. Apparently you were able to sit close enough to talk, but you were far enough away not to touch. And that space in between apparently kept everybody safe, which is, I guess, a good thing. And these chairs have these arms, or the spaces, or some in the back don't have any arms at all, and those were ladies' chairs, and that was to make room for the hoops of the dresses of the day. Interesting. The old state house was the Capitol until 1911, when the current Capitol was built. From 1912 to 1935, this building became the Arkansas Medical School. Rumor has it that these medical students were pretty rowdy. When they would make what were so-called egregious errors, they had to publicly confess in the form of graffiti. Soon the walls of the buildings were covered with all types of misdeeds, and apparently the students thought it was funny to put cadaver parts in other students' belongings. One such instance was the jacket of a medical student that was found in a local restaurant that had severed human fingers in it. The local people were not amused. They also did animal research on sheep and dogs, and this came to a quick stop when the sheriff of the town found his bloodhound in the research pen. So in 1947, the old State House was finally made into this museum. Looks like we are in the First Lady's inaugural gown room. This is their inaugural dresses. It's interesting seeing the different styles. This one here is from the wife of John Sebastian Little. He was the 21st governor from 1907 to 1909. Beautiful. And then right next to it is the wife of Winthrop Rockefeller, the 37th governor from 1967, 1971. What a difference in gowns in just like 60 years. This is Eula Terrell's gown. She was the first lady from 1925, 1927. Beadwork's beautiful. In 1837, the state needed money, but there was a bank crisis. A legislator proposed a bill to award a bounty on wolf hides, but this didn't go far because, one, how would people be paid during the money crisis? And two, who wants to hang on to smelly wolf pelts until somebody shows up with money? Well, a legislator, his name was J.J. Anthony, suggested that all the hides be signed by the president of the real estate bank. This was a dig at the president of the real estate bank and basically said when these rotting, stinky pelts were signed by the president that they would become Arkansas currency. The Speaker of the House, John Wilson, was not amused because he was the president of the real estate bank. And he didn't take kindly to Anthony saying that the current money situation in Arkansas was stinky and rotting. Wilson asked Anthony if he was meaning this as an insult, and Anthony basically just shrugged his shoulders and refused to clarify what he meant. So Wilson declared Anthony out of order and told him to sit down, but Anthony refused to yield the floor. At this point, there are conflict eyewitness reports, but Anthony opened his coat and pulled out a knife. Some witnesses say it was really Wilson, but most stories go with Anthony, so I will too. But both rushed each other, and another legislator had the sense of mind to try to stop these two from killing each other and thrust a chair between the two, while Wilson and Anthony just fought through the wooden chair. During this chair duel, Wilson's wrist was slashed, but Anthony had a knife plunged directly into his heart, and Anthony died instantaneously. Wilson went to trial, but was acquitted on the grounds of self-defense. Interesting. There are some permanent exhibits like the House Chamber, the First Ladies of Arkansas, and the Governors of Arkansas. But they do have some temporary exhibits, and the one that just left was on botanical drawings of Kent Bonar that were visual illustrations of the natural flora that's found in Arkansas. Right now, they are in the process of changing out traveling exhibits, and this one looks to be music-based. So I have no idea who a lot of these people are, but pretty cool. It's like they're gonna make a music exhibit in here. Be interesting to come back and see what all these signatures are.
because I'm sure there's some famous people in here.
So this is the old governor's office. So this room I'm in now was the reception room. This room I'm walking into is the secretary's room. And then this room in here was his private office. So this was the very first Capitol building, and so this is where the governors were. I have to look and figure out, I'll put the date on the screen, but when this became a museum and stopped becoming the Capitol building. So very interesting being in here. Oh, they got a little kids' room. It's got train trunks, painted water tower, and a caboose. Neat. So that was a really interesting museum. It took me about an hour to go through it. A lot of history of how Arkansas came to be. The governors that were here, of course, you know, President Clinton was governor of Arkansas for a while. So it's very interesting. So highly recommend. About an hour of time downtown. Got to find a place to park, pay for that. But other than that, really, really interesting. People inside very helpful, friendly, would answer any questions that you've had, gave me a little bit of the background of it. This building was built by slaves. They actually created and made the bricks that made the building. So those were, can't remember what he said, if they were having to replace some or they've been protected, but it's part of our history. So all right, well, I'm gonna go walk around and see what else we can find. Let's go. So right here, next to the old State House building, is Riverfront Park. So we're gonna walk over the bridge and we're gonna go see the river. So this is the Arkansas River that's on the other side, the back part of the old State House. So that's where we were just at. And now we're gonna go up to this bridge. Let's check it out. Hopefully not a lot of wind sound. It's a little breezy. Here's the road. And there's the Arkansas River. Let's go check out the water. Let's go down and check it out.
So we're gonna walk this downtown area, but I gotta kind of make it kind of quick. I got like 40 minutes left on my parking spot that I have in front of the State House. So we're gonna come down here, check it out real fast. But wow, beautiful view. I'm gonna turn this around so you can see it. Sculpture garden over here. Dancing pony. This one's called Autumn Wind. Oh, that's pretty neat. I didn't know this was back here. What was that unexpected little stroll? Over underneath the bridge. So here we are down by the water. You can see it's pretty muddy, but beautiful view though. There's the bridge. And there I am. Hear that? Somebody honking. I want to show you guys these guys sitting on this rail. They were sitting here an hour ago when I came down here to start walking. See if you can see them. But they're sitting here and they're watching these guys on these platform. They're screwing stuff into the wall. So let me see if I can show you them. But they've been sitting here just entertained watching those guys work. So they're screwing stuff into the wall and after replacing the windows. They're having themselves a good old time. Sitting there watching them. Alright, let's head back to the car. My time should be just about up. And then we're gonna head to the art museum. I might stop and get something to eat. What time is it? 11. We'll go to the museum first, art museum, and then we'll grab something to eat when we're done. Alright, Riverwalk, pretty, being prettier in the spring when the leaves are full. Let's go. Alright, made it back to the car. So I got 8 minutes left to spare on the meter. And that was the 2 hours that I put on it. So that was enough time to see the old State House, go down to the river, walk around a little bit, walk down to the Robinson Center, check that out real fast. So 2 hours was pretty good. If you wanted, you could go down the street a little bit. There's some places to eat. Hertz Donuts is there. Convention center's down there. But I think we're going to head to the art museum. Let's go check it out. So I just pulled up here at the Little Rock Fine Arts Museum. And this is also, I don't know if you can see that building behind us, is the General Douglas MacArthur house. Apparently he was born here in Little Rock. So it's a museum, so I'm gonna pop into that too. So there's a little memorial out here that we're gonna walk through, and I'm gonna show you all of this. Just check it out. So this war is considered the Forgotten War. It was sandwiched between World War II and Vietnam, and a lot of people just don't think about the Korean War being as impactful as it was. A lot of people forget about it. Approximately 4 million Koreans died throughout the Korean Peninsula. At one point during the war, there were approximately 100,000 orphans wandering in South Korea. The economic and social damages of the war on the Korean people were incalculable. So we're heading to the Douglas MacArthur Museum of Arkansas Military History. I did not realize that this place was this close. Admission is free. And they are open. This building was part of an arsenal built by the United States government in 1837. It was used by the Confederates during the war between the states and was transferred to the city of Little Rock by the government April 12, 1893. The grounds will be perpetually used for a public park. Let's go check it out. That's pretty cool.
This building was the Little Rock Arsenal and stored ammunition and weapons. This became a military post with over 30 buildings, and this tower is the only one left, and the walls are almost 3 feet thick. When Arkansas seceded from the Union, it was a Confederate post, but after the capture of Little Rock, it moved into Union control. Let's check out the inside. All right, I want to tell you guys a quick little story about my grandma and a Jeep just like this. She would inspect these type of Jeeps back in World War II and in Long Beach, California, and she was in charge of driving them and inspecting them. And she would write her name on the paper saying that she's inspected this Jeep and it was good. One of these Jeeps she inspected ended up in New Zealand, and the soldiers that got the Jeep named it the Betty Lou because they saw her name on the inspection sheet and they thought it would give them good luck. So later on, she gets a picture or a letter from them saying that they named their Jeep the Betty Lou. So, little interesting fact about these little Jeeps. So that's a neat little thing, thinking of my grandma. And the Betty Lou. The old State House first served as the Confederate and later the Union capital of the Civil War. Later, Little Rock fell into the Union soldiers in 1863 after the Battle of Pea Ridge. And Pea Ridge is up in the northwest part of the state. The Union line was then moved down towards Camden, and the new Confederate capital was put in Washington, Arkansas, and that's down close to Texarkana. And this here looks like the ordinance that for the succession of Arkansas to leave the Union and become a Confederate state. So this is David Dodd. He is one of the youngest people to be killed during the Civil War in Arkansas. And what happened was he was 17 years old and he was coming through Union territory that was here in Little Rock, and he was heading towards Camden, which was in the southern part of the state, and that was in the Confederate area. And he had a pass to go through Little Rock to get there. Well, he goes through Little Rock, and when he gets past the Union Point, they take his papers. Well, he goes to visit some friends, and he ends up back in Union territory and gets stopped. Well, he doesn't have any paperwork, no documentation showing who he is or his past to let him get through. But he has a book on him, and the book is Morse code that talks about the movement of the Union soldiers in the area. So he was tried and he was hanged right outside this building in what's MacArthur Park, and that's where he was hanged. He would not reveal his sources or where he got the book from, but that's his story. So he's considered the martyr of the Arkansas Confederacy. And this glass is double-sided glass. And so one side has paint on the back of the glass, and then the back side of it is clear glass. So this is painted glass. Interesting. And this is a 42 star unofficial 1890 U.S. flag. Douglas MacArthur was born here while his father was stationed in Little Rock, and MacArthur was a controversial military leader during the Korean War. It looks like he and Truman had a love-hate relationship. Truman actually fired MacArthur, which didn't go over well with the public. So here we have posters, and these were a form of propaganda that was used not only to justify why we were fighting, but also for recruitment and to raise money. These posters helped raise billions of dollars towards the war effort. So now we're heading over to the Museum of Fine Art, which opened in 1937, and it had an Art Deco design. Over time, the collection grew to be over 14,000 pieces in their permanent collection. There have been many renovations and many different designs, and the last one was in 2021, and it was completed in 2023. It's a small little museum.
Okay, so I just got done touring the MacArthur Museum. Very interesting. Goes real in depth into the war with Korea and places like that. A lot of information. I can't even give you half of what it was, but very interesting museum. If you're into history, you're into Vietnam War, Korean War, World War II. It's all kind of meshed in there in that group. Very interesting museum, and again, it's free. So, and then you can hop right over next door to the art museum and go in there and see that. It's a smaller art museum, and they wouldn't let me have my phone with my little grip on it, so I had to take it off. So I wasn't able to take a lot of video and pictures inside. They were kind of not encouraging that. So, but it's a nice museum. A lot of modern art. They have an art nouveau kind of exhibit going on in there right now. Furniture, not a lot of artwork, but a lot of vases and furniture and stuff like that was in there. They have a place on the top floor where you can go for coffee, have drinks and stuff like that. Small, took me about 30 minutes to get through that. I spent longer in this museum because of the history of it. It was just a little bit more interesting for me. So I'm ready for some lunch. I'm gonna go grab something and then head on home.
If you like this video, we'd appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe to our channel. Also, hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified when future videos come out. We'll see you guys next time.